Market entry strategy, a comprehensive overview. The market entry strategy is a critical component for businesses looking to enter new markets successfully. It entails assessing the attractiveness of a new market, understanding competitive forces, and developing strategies to overcome potential barriers. This detailed analysis will delve deeper into the attractiveness of new market entry, Porter's 5 forces, structural entry barriers, strategic entry barriers. Judo strategy, niche market, limit pricing, predatory pricing, price skimming, penetration pricing, and preemption. 1. Attractiveness of new market entry. When considering entering a new market, businesses must assess its attractiveness by evaluating factors such as growth potential, profitability, market size, and accessibility. Key aspects that influence a new market's appeal include barriers to entry, government regulations, capital requirements, economies of scale, product differentiation, brand equity, customer loyalty, industry profitability, and network effects. A thorough analysis of these factors helps companies determine whether the new market offers viable opportunities for success. 2. Porter's 5 forces. Porter's 5 forces is a valuable framework for analyzing competitive forces within an industry. The 5 forces include: A. Threat of new entrants. This force evaluates how easy or difficult it is for new competitors to enter the market. Factors influencing the threat of new entrants encompass entry barriers, government policies, capital requirements, economies of scale, product differentiation, brand equity, customer loyalty, industry profitability, and network effects. B. Threat of substitutes. The threat of substitutes refers to the availability of alternative products or services that fulfill similar customer needs. Factors that affect this threat include buyer propensity to substitute, relative price performance of substitutes, buyer switching costs, the number of substitute products available, and the availability of close substitutes. C. Bargaining power of customers. The bargaining power of customers indicates how much control buyers have in influencing market conditions. Factors affecting customer bargaining power consist of buyer concentration to firm concentration ratio, the degree of dependency upon existing channels of distribution, buyer switching costs, buyer information availability, and buyer price sensitivity. D. Bargaining power of suppliers. This force assesses the ability of suppliers to influence market conditions. Factors that impact supplier bargaining power include: supplier switching costs relative to firm switching costs, the degree of differentiation of inputs, the presence of substitute inputs, and employee solidarity. E. Competitive rivalry. Competitive rivalry refers to the intensity of competition among existing players in the market. Factors that influence competitive rivalry are sustainable competitive advantages through innovation, the level of advertising expense, and powerful competitive strategies such as low cost versus differentiation. 3. Structural entry barriers. Structural entry barriers are obstacles that impede new entrants from easily accessing a market. These barriers can result from incumbents controlling essential resources, economies of scale and scope, and marketing advantages. Examples of structural entry barriers include control over natural resources, supplier capacity, patents, distribution channels, prime locations, and government rationing. 4. Strategic entry barriers. Strategic entry barriers are actions taken by existing businesses in a market to discourage potential entrants from entering into competition. These barriers can include hostile takeovers, product differentiation through heavy spending on new product development, capacity expansion to achieve lower unit costs, and predatory pricing. Strategic entry barriers can sometimes be deemed anti-competitive and may be subject to various competition laws. 5. Judo strategy. Judo strategy is an approach in which a new entrant sets a lower price than the incumbent's price, limits its capacity to serve a small proportion of the market, and signals its intention not to increase capacity drastically in the future. In response, the incumbent can either lose some profits by giving market share to the entrant or exclude the entrant by setting its price marginally lower than the entrant's one, thus incurring short-term losses. 6. Niche market. A niche market is a subset of the broader market that focuses on a specific product or service, targeting particular customer needs, price range, production quality, and demographics. By concentrating on a niche market, entrants can avoid direct competition with larger, established players, as cross-market retaliation may not be feasible for the incumbent. 7. Limit pricing. Limit pricing is a strategy used by monopolists to discourage market entry by setting a price that is low enough to make entry unprofitable but still above the average cost of production. This price, known as the limit price, is often lower than the average cost of production or just low enough to make entry unattractive. To make limit pricing a credible deterrent, the incumbent firm must commit to producing a certain quantity, whether entry occurs or not. An example of this would be signing a union contract to employ a certain high level of labor for an extended period. 8. Predatory pricing. Predatory pricing is an aggressive pricing strategy designed to drive competitors out of the market by setting prices at a level that is unsustainable for other businesses. Although it is illegal in some countries, predatory pricing can be difficult to detect during price competitions. While consumers benefit from lower prices in the short term, predatory pricing can ultimately lead to a monopoly, decreased competition, and higher prices in the long run. 9. Price skimming. Price skimming is a pricing strategy that involves setting a relatively high initial price for a product or service, then lowering the price over time. This approach allows a firm to recover its sunk costs quickly before competition enters the market and lowers prices. Price skimming is often used for innovative products or services with limited competition. 10. Penetration pricing. Penetration pricing is a strategy where the price of a product is initially set low to rapidly capture a large market share and generate word of mouth. The strategy works on the expectation that customers will switch to the new brand due to the lower price. Penetration pricing is most commonly associated with marketing objectives of enlarging market share and exploiting economies of scale or experience. 11. Preemption. Preemption is a strategy used by incumbent firms to deter new entrants by over-investing to reduce variable costs of production. Pursuing horizontal product differentiation with greater product variety, or choosing outlet locations more densely than would be optimal without the threat of entry. In conclusion, a successful market entry strategy involves a thorough analysis of the attractiveness of new markets, understanding the competitive forces in the industry, identifying and overcoming structural and strategic entry barriers, and selecting the appropriate pricing and competitive strategies. By doing so, businesses can effectively navigate the challenges of entering new markets and ensure their long-term success.